Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, looking at the giant space station ahead. The Earthship Defiant moved slowly toward the massive structure. This was the home of the Galactic Council, the group that controlled most of space. After 3 long years of talking, humans had finally been asked to join them. The station was bigger than anything Jake had ever seen. It looked like a small moon made of metal and glass. Thousands of ships from different alien races moved around, like tiny insects. Some ships had strange shapes that hurt to look at. Others glowed with colors that human eyes could barely see. Lisa Kane walked onto the bridge. She was the top diplomat from Earth. Her job was to make the deal with the aliens. She carried a thick folder full of papers. These papers would decide the future of all humans in space. "Are you ready for this?" Jake asked her. He had known Lisa for 10 years. They had fought together in the Mars colonies. Now they were about to make history. Lisa nodded but looked worried. "The council says this is a great honor. Most alien races wait many years to get invited. Some never get asked at all." Jake looked at the message they had received 6 months ago. The council had been watching humans for 5 years. They saw how fast humans had spread to new planets. They saw human technology grow stronger. The council decided that humans might be useful. "Captain Morrison, we are getting a signal from the station," said Ben Parker from his seat. Ben was young but very good with computers and communications. He could speak 3 alien languages. "Put it on the main screen," Jake said. The screen showed a tall, thin alien with pale blue skin. Its eyes were large and silver. It wore long white robes that seemed to float around its body. This was a Zephyrian, one of the oldest races in the galaxy. "Human vessel, you are cleared to dock at Bay 712. Council Prime Zethvar is waiting to meet with your delegation. Do not deviate from the assigned path." The signal ended without waiting for a reply. Jake felt a chill run down his back. These aliens did not seem very friendly. Helen Brooks joined them on the bridge. She was Earth's best expert on alien life. She had studied every piece of information about the council races. Her job was to help humans understand alien behavior and customs. "The Zephyrians believe they are better than everyone else," Helen explained. "They have ruled the council for over 2,000 years. They see young races like humans as children who need guidance." Alex Turner came up from the lower decks. He was the military commander for this mission. His job was to protect the human delegation if things went wrong. Alex did not trust aliens very much. He had fought against alien pirates in the outer systems. "I don't like this," Alex said quietly. "Why invite us now? What changed their minds?" Lisa looked at her papers again. "According to their message, they want to help us grow and develop. They offer protection from hostile aliens. They promise to share their advanced technology. In return, we just need to follow some basic rules." The Defiant docked with the station. The airlock connected with a soft hiss. Jake felt the artificial gravity change as they entered the alien station. The air smelled different here. It was clean but had a strange metallic taste. A group of aliens waited for them at the dock. There were 3 different species. The tall Zephyrian in white robes stood in the center. Next to him was a massive creature covered in thick armor. This was a Kornak, one of the warrior races. The 3rd alien looked like a giant insect with 4 arms and glowing green eyes. This was a Vex from the traitor species. "Welcome to Council Station," the Zephyrian said. His voice was soft but cold. "I am Ambassador Veltar. Council Prime Zethvar is waiting in the main chamber." They walked through long corridors filled with strange architecture. The walls curved in ways that made Jake feel dizzy. Alien writing covered the surfaces. Some of it glowed with soft light. Other symbols seemed to move when he was not looking directly at them. Hundreds of different aliens moved through the corridors. Some floated instead of walking. Others had too many legs or arms. A few were so strange that Jake could not figure out how they moved at all. All of them stopped to stare at the humans as they passed. "First time seeing humans," Helen whispered to the group. "We are probably the most normal-looking species they have seen in a while." The main council chamber was enormous. It could hold thousands of beings. Seats were arranged in circles going up toward the ceiling. Each section was designed for different types of alien bodies. Some seats were filled with water, others had no solid surface at all. Council Prime Zethvar sat at the center of the chamber. He was even taller than the other Zephyrians. His robes were silver instead of white. A crown of light floated above his head. When he spoke, his voice filled the entire chamber without any visible technology. "Humans of Earth," he said, "you have traveled far to reach us. We have watched your species for some time. You show potential that interests us." Lisa stepped forward. She had practiced this moment many times. "Council Prime, Earth is honored by your invitation. We hope to build a peaceful relationship between our peoples." "Indeed," Zethvar replied. "The galaxy can be dangerous for young species. Many threats exist in the darkness between stars. Hostile races seek to destroy or enslave developing civilizations. Pirates attack trade routes. Ancient machines left by dead races still guard forbidden territories." The Council Prime gestured to the aliens around the chamber. "Here, you see, the successful species. Those who accepted our guidance and protection. They have prospered under Council law. Their people are safe. Their technology has advanced. Their planets are defended." Jake looked around the chamber. He counted representatives from at least 50 different alien races. Some looked happy and comfortable. Others seemed nervous or afraid. A few would not make eye contact with the humans at all. "We offer you the same opportunity," Zethvar continued. "Membership in our great alliance, protection for your colonies, access to technology beyond your current understanding. All we ask in return is cooperation and trust." Lisa opened her folder. "We are very interested in your offer, Council Prime. We have brought our preliminary agreements for your review." "Excellent," the alien leader said. "Tomorrow we will discuss the terms in detail. Tonight you will be our guests. Rest well, humans. Tomorrow begins a new chapter in your species' history." As they were led to their quarters, Jake could not shake the feeling that something was not right. The aliens were being too generous. In his experience, nobody gave away something for nothing. What did the Council really want from humanity? The next morning, Lisa Kane woke up in her guest room on the alien station. The bed was comfortable, but she had not slept well. Strange sounds came through the walls all night. Alien voices speaking in languages she could not understand. Q. Artificial gravity felt different than on Earth ships. Everything smelled like metal and ozone. She met the other humans for breakfast in a special dining area. The food was designed for human biology, but it tasted bland and artificial. Jake Morrison sat across from her, pushing strange green cubes around his plate. "Any word from Earth?" Jake asked. Ben Parker looked up from his communication device. "All quiet, Captain. The quantum relay is working fine. Earth Command is waiting for our report." Helen Brooks had been awake since before dawn, studying alien cultural files on her tablet. "I have been reading about Council membership procedures. The process usually takes months or even years. It is unusual for them to rush like this." Alex. Turner finished his meal quickly. He did not like the alien food. Maybe they are desperate for new members. Maybe other species have been saying no. Lisa gathered her papers and stood up. "Time to find out what they really want from us." They returned to the Council chamber, but this time it was much smaller. Only a few dozen aliens were present. The most important representatives from each major species sat around a circular table. Council Prime Zethvar waited at the head of the table. "Please sit," the tall alien said. "Today we discuss the practical details of membership." A Vex alien named Clickstar stepped forward. The insect creature had 4 arms and bright green eyes. Its voice sounded like clicking metal when it spoke. "We will begin with economic integration. Human colonies produce many useful resources: food crops, rare minerals, industrial materials." Clickstar activated a holographic display above the table. It showed charts and numbers that made Lisa's head spin. "According to our analysis, Earth and its colonies can provide the following export quotas: 60% of agricultural output, 70% of mined materials, 40% of manufactured goods." "Wait," Lisa said. 60% of our food production? Our colonies are still growing. Our people need that food. The Vex clicked its mandibles in what might have been laughter. Council nutritionists will optimize human diet requirements. Current consumption levels are inefficient. Humans eat more than necessary for survival. Helen Brooks leaned forward. What about the manufactured goods? Those quotas would shut down most of our factories. Human manufacturing is primitive, Clickster replied. Council technology will replace your inefficient systems. Your people will be retrained for more suitable work. Jake felt his anger rising. What kind of work? A massive Kornak warrior named Gorthak answered. The alien was covered in thick armor and had forearms ending in claws. Humans show good potential for labor operations, mining, construction, agricultural work. Your species adapts well to different environments. Alex Turner's hand moved toward his weapon, but Jake caught his eye and shook his head slightly. Not yet. Council Prime Zethvar raised one long finger. Now we discuss military integration. Human ships are small but well designed. Your crews show adequate training. A holographic image of Earth's space fleet appeared above the table. Every ship was labeled with detailed specifications. The aliens had been watching human military forces very carefully. We require 40% of your military vessels for Council Defense Forces, Gorthak announced. Human crews will serve under Kornak command structure. This will provide valuable training in advanced combat techniques. 40%? Alex could not stay quiet anymore. That would leave Earth almost defenseless. Earth will not need independent defense, Zethvar said calmly. Council forces will protect all member worlds. Your remaining ships will patrol. Assigned sectors under our command. Lisa looked at the numbers on her datapad. The aliens wanted almost half of everything humanity had built. What about our government? How would Earth be administered under Council law? An excellent question, Zethvar replied. Human political systems are chaotic and inefficient. Multiple governments compete for resources. Decision-making processes are slow and often contradictory. The Council Prime activated another display. This one showed Earth's political map with all the different nations and colonies marked in different colors. We will assign a council governor to oversee Earth administration. This individual will have final authority over all major decisions. Local human leaders may continue to handle minor domestic issues. You mean one of your people would rule Earth? Jake asked. Rule is such a harsh word, Zethvar said. Guide would be more accurate. Humans are still developing politically. You need experienced leadership to avoid the mistakes that destroy young civilizations. Helen had been taking notes on her tablet. What about our scientific research, our technology development programs? A new alien stepped forward. This one looked like a floating jellyfish with glowing tentacles. I am researcher Nimdo of the Ethereal Collective. All human research data will be transferred to Council archives immediately upon membership. This prevents dangerous experiments and accelerates beneficial development. In return, Nimdo continued, humans will receive carefully selected Council technologies. These will be introduced gradually over approximately 100 Earth years. Too much advancement too quickly can destabilize developing cultures. Lisa felt sick to her stomach. So, we give you everything we have learned, and you give us scraps of knowledge over the next century? Young species must learn patience, Zethvar said. Advanced technology in primitive hands leads to destruction. We have seen this pattern many times. Ben Parker had been quietly recording everything on his communication device. What happens to human colonies that refuse to join this arrangement? Gus? Chamber fell silent. Several aliens exchanged glances. Finally, Gorthak answered. There are no independent human colonies under Council law. All human settlements become Council territory upon membership. Colonies that resist integration are considered rebel territories. And what happens to rebel territories? Alex asked, though he was afraid of the answer. They are pacified, the Kornak warrior said simply. For the good of galactic stability. Lisa looked around the table at the alien faces. Some seemed genuinely convinced they were helping humanity. Others looked bored as if this was just routine business. A few seemed hungry, like predators watching prey. These terms are quite different from what we expected, Lisa said carefully. We were told this was a partnership between equals. Equality is earned through time and service, Zethvar replied. New members begin in junior status. After proving their reliability and commitment, they may advance to full membership rights. How long does that usually take? Helen asked. For most species, 50 to 100 years, the Council Prime answered. Some require longer periods of guidance. Jake stood up slowly. We need time to discuss these terms among ourselves. This is a big decision for our people. Of course, Zethvar said. You have until tomorrow to provide your answer. The Council is patient, but not indefinitely so. As the humans left the chamber, Lisa felt like she was walking in a nightmare. These aliens were not offering partnership. They were demanding surrender. Everything humans had built, everything they had achieved, would belong to the Council. Back in their quarters, the team gathered around a secure communication device. Alex had swept the room for listening devices, but they could not be completely sure they were not being monitored. This is not membership, Jake said quietly. This is conquest disguised as cooperation. The quotas alone would destroy our economy, Lisa agreed. And putting a council governor in charge of Earth? That is the end of human independence. Helen looked at her notes. I noticed something interesting. They keep talking about other species that went through this process. But where are those species now? I saw their representatives in the chamber, but they all looked nervous or afraid. Ben had been analyzing the data files he had recorded. The communication patterns are strange too. When the aliens talk to each other, they use different tones than when they talk to us, like they are hiding something. Alex checked his weapon one more time. What do you want to do, Admiral? We could fight our way out of here. Lisa shook her head. Not yet. If we run now, they will know we rejected their offer. They might attack Earth immediately. We need more information first. What kind of information? Jake asked. The truth about what really happens to species that join the Council, Lisa said. And the truth about what happens to species that refuse. Outside their quarters, the alien station hummed with activity. Thousands of beings from hundreds of worlds went about their daily business. None of them knew that in these small rooms, a group of humans was planning something that would change the galaxy forever. Ben Parker could not sleep. The alien station made too many strange noises. Metal creaked and groaned as the massive structure adjusted to gravitational forces. Alien voices echoed through the corridors at all hours. But what really kept Ben awake was the feeling that something was very wrong. He got up from his bed and went to his computer terminal. As the communications specialist for the human delegation, Ben had access to many of the station's data networks. The Council had given humans limited access to their information systems as a gesture of goodwill. They probably thought humans were too primitive to understand what they found. Ben started with basic historical records. He wanted to learn more about the species that Council Prime Zethvar had mentioned, the successful civilizations that had joined the Council and prospered under alien guidance. The first species he researched was the Deltarian Republic. According to Council records, they had joined the Alliance 300 years ago. Their home system had 7 planets with beautiful crystal cities. The Deltarians were master builders who created amazing architecture throughout their space. Ben found recent survey reports of the Deltarian system. What he saw made his blood freeze. The crystal cities were gone. The planets had been strip-mined down to their cores. Massive excavation machines covered the surface of every world. The beautiful Deltarian architecture had been replaced with industrial mining facilities. He searched for information about the Deltarian people themselves. The records were vague but disturbing. Most Deltarians now lived in worker habitats in asteroid belts throughout their former territory. They provided essential labor services for Council mining operations. Ben's hands shook as he searched for more examples. The Helix Confederation had been famous for their orbital space habitats. These floating cities were considered among the greatest achievements in galactic engineering. Ben found current images of the Helix system. The beautiful orbital habitats were now processing centers for raw materials. Millions of Helix people worked in the factories that had once been their homes. The Spiral Arm Union had controlled 12 star systems before joining the Council. They were known for their advanced agricultural techniques and beautiful garden worlds. Ben looked at recent photos of their planets. The gardens were gone. Every world had been converted to mass production, farming controlled by Council agricultural specialists. Ben realized he was looking at a pattern. Every species that joined the Council eventually lost everything that made them unique. Their cultures disappeared. Their people became workers for alien masters. Their worlds became resource extraction sites for the Council economy. He had to tell the others, but first he needed more proof. Ben used his access codes to dig deeper into the Council communication networks. His language translation programs worked hard to decode alien messages. What he found was even worse than he had feared. In hidden communication channels, Council officials discussed humanity in terms that made Ben sick. They called humans Harvest Species 847. The discussions talked about population management and resource extraction potential. The aliens were planning to do to humanity exactly what they had done to hundreds of other species. Ben found a detailed analysis of human biology and psychology. Council scientists had studied humans for years. They noted that humans were excellent, workers who could adapt to many different environments. Human creativity and problem-solving abilities made them valuable for complex tasks. Most importantly, humans were emotional creatures who could be controlled through careful manipulation of their social structures. The plan for humanity was already complete. After joining the Council, human governments would be slowly dismantled. Key human leaders would be replaced with Council-approved administrators. Human military forces would be integrated into Council defense fleets and sent to distant parts of the galaxy. Within 50 years, humans would be scattered across hundreds of star systems, working as laborers for their alien masters. Ben copied everything he could find onto secure data storage devices. Then he carefully covered his tracks in the alien computer systems. He had to wake up Admiral Kane immediately. Lisa Kane was dreaming about Earth when Ben Parker knocked on her door. She woke up quickly, her military training taking over. Ben looked pale and frightened in the corridor light. "Admiral, you need to see this right now," Ben whispered. "I found something terrible." Lisa pulled on her uniform and followed Ben to a secure meeting room. Ben activated his portable computer and showed her the files he had discovered. Lisa's face grew darker with each image and document. "Dear God," she said finally, "they are not offering us membership. They are planning to enslave us." "It gets worse," Ben said. He showed her the communication intercepts about Harvest Species 847. The casual way the aliens discussed destroying human civilization made Lisa feel sick with rage. "Wake up the others," Lisa ordered. "Everyone needs to see this." Within 20 minutes, the entire human delegation was gathered in the secure room. Jake Morrison studied the evidence with growing anger. Helen Brooks compared the alien communications with her cultural research. Alex Turner was already planning fighting scenarios in his head. "How many species have they done this to?" Helen asked. Ben pulled up a list on his computer. "At least 200 civilizations over the past 1,000 years. Maybe more. The records go back further than I could access." "What happened to the species that refused to join?" Jake wanted to know. Ben found those files too. The images were disturbing. Planets burned from orbit. Entire civilizations wiped out by Council military forces. The aliens called it Galactic sanitation to remove disruptive elements from space. "So our choices are slavery or death," Alex said grimly. "Maybe not," Lisa said slowly. "They have been doing this for 1,000 years, but they have never encountered humans before. They think they know how we will react, but they might be wrong." Helen looked up from her cultural analysis. "The pattern is always the same. Young species get invited to join. They accept because they are afraid or desperate. They sign away, their freedom in exchange for protection and technology. But what if we do something different?" Lisa asked. "What if we surprise them?" Jake stood up and started pacing around the small room. "The Council thinks it controls this situation. They have done this so many times that they assume it will work again. They are not prepared for resistance. Why? What kind of resistance? Ben asked. Lisa smiled for the first time since seeing the alien files. Information warfare. They have been keeping secrets for 1,000 years. What happens if those secrets become public? You mean tell other species what we found? Helen asked. Exactly, Lisa said. Right now there are probably dozens of young civilizations being watched by the Council, getting ready for their own invitation to join. What would happen if they knew the truth? Alex checked his weapon systems on his tablet. The Council would try to stop us from spreading the information. They might attack us right here on the station. Then we need to be ready for that, Jake said. But first we need to get this information out to as many people as possible. Ben was already working on his communication equipment. I can send encrypted messages through our quantum relay back to Earth. From there, Earth Command can broadcast to other human colonies and any alien civilizations willing to listen. Do it, Lisa ordered. Send everything. The historical records, the communication intercepts, the plans for humanity. Make sure the entire galaxy knows what the Council really is. Helen gathered her research files. I will prepare a cultural analysis showing the pattern of Council conquest. Other species need to understand how the deception works. Jake activated his command codes. I will send a message to Earth Defense Command. They need to start preparing for possible Council attack. Alex started checking their weapons and defensive equipment. How long do we have before the Council realizes what we are doing? Not long, Ben said. Their communication monitoring systems are very advanced. They will detect our transmissions within hours. Lisa looked around at her team. These 4 people were about to change the course of galactic history. Then we better make those hours count. Ben, start transmitting. Helen, get that analysis finished. Jake, coordinate with Earth Command. Alex, prepare our defenses. What about the Council meeting tomorrow? Jake asked. They are expecting an answer about membership. Lisa's smile became cold and determined. Oh, we will give them an answer, just not the one they are expecting. Outside their quarters, the alien station continued its normal operations. Council officials went about their daily business, confident that another young species was about to join their ancient system of exploitation. They had no idea that in a small human meeting room their 1,000-year-old empire was beginning to crumble. The next morning, Lisa Kane walked into the Council chamber with a smile on her face. She carried a briefcase full of signed documents and acted like she was excited about the future. The alien representatives seemed pleased to see her positive attitude. Council. Prime Zethvar sat in his tall chair at the center of the chamber. The silver-robed alien leader looked confident and relaxed. Around him, dozens of Council representatives waited for the humans to formally surrender their independence. Admiral Kane, Zethvar said in his cold voice, I trust you have had time to consider our generous offer. Oh yes, Lisa replied. We have given it very careful thought. In fact, we spent most of the night reviewing the details. She walked to the center of the chamber and placed her briefcase on the speaking podium. The alien representatives leaned forward in their seats. This was always their favorite moment, watching young species give up their freedom in exchange for false promises. The Earth Alliance is honored by your invitation to join the Galactic Council, Lisa announced. Her voice carried clearly through the chamber. However, we do have a few additional terms we would like to discuss. Zethvar's silver eyes narrowed slightly. Additional terms? That is not how this process works, Admiral Kane. The Council sets the terms for membership. New species accept those terms. Lisa's smile never changed. I understand that is how it has worked in the past. But humans are different. We believe in fair negotiations between equals. A few alien representatives made sounds that might have been laughter. The idea of humans as equals seemed amusing to them. You see, Lisa continued, we have had time to research your organization more thoroughly. We wanted to understand the long-term benefits of Council membership. She opened her briefcase and pulled out a small device. With the press of a button, holographic displays filled the air above the chamber. The aliens stopped laughing when they saw what appeared on the screens. The first image showed the Deltarian system as it had looked 300 years ago. Beautiful crystal cities sparkled on 7 different worlds. The architecture was amazing, with towers that seemed to grow like living things. The second image showed the same system today. Barren rocks surrounded by mining equipment and industrial waste. The Deltarians were truly gifted builders, Lisa said conversationally. It is such a shame that their cities are all gone now. I imagine the lithium and rare crystal extraction operations are quite profitable, though. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Several alien representatives activated communication devices, probably trying to contact their superiors. Others began moving toward the exits. Council Prime Zethvar raised one long hand for silence. "Where did you obtain these images?" he demanded. "Oh, we have access to all sorts of interesting information," Lisa replied. "For example, here are some recent photos of the famous Helix orbital habitats." New images appeared in the air. The beautiful floating cities of the Helix Confederation had been replaced by massive industrial processing centers. Millions of beings worked in cramped factory conditions inside what had once been their homes. Helen Brooks stepped forward with her tablet computer. "According to our analysis, the pattern is quite consistent across all council member species. Join the alliance, lose your independence, become a source of cheap labor and raw materials." Jake Morrison joined them at the podium. "We found the implementation timeline particularly interesting. 50 years from membership to complete absorption. Very efficient system you have developed here." Ben Parker activated his communication equipment. The historical records were fascinating reading. 200 civilizations processed through your membership program over the past 1,000 years. Not a single one retained their original government or culture. More aliens were leaving the chamber now. The Kornak warriors were reaching for their weapons, but they seemed confused about what to do. This had never happened before in council history. Alex Turner stepped forward, his hand resting on his sidearm. "We were especially interested in your military integration protocols, how you scatter member species forces across the galaxy to prevent organized resistance." "Very clever." Council Prime Zethvar stood up from his chair. His silver robes billowed around his tall frame. "You cannot possess this information. Our security systems are unbreachable." "Your security is excellent," Lisa agreed. "Unfortunately for you, humans are very good at breaking things that are supposed to be unbreakable. It is one of our most useful talents." Ben activated another display. This one showed intercepted council communications discussing humanity as Harvest Species 847. The casual discussions of population management and resource extraction filled the chamber with translated alien voices. "We particularly enjoyed the part where your agricultural specialists calculated how to reduce human food consumption by 40%, Helen said. "The term you used was optimization of biological requirements, I believe." Several more alien representatives fled the chamber. The ones who remained looked angry or frightened. Some species in the chamber seemed genuinely shocked by what they were hearing. Others were clearly trying to figure out how to contain the situation. Zethvar's calm mask finally slipped. "Even if you have this information, it changes nothing. You cannot leave this station alive. No species has ever refused council membership." "About that," Lisa said. "We took the liberty of sharing our research with some friends." Jake activated his communication device. "Earth Command, this is Captain Morrison. Please confirm receipt of our data transmission." A human voice filled the chamber through the ship's communication system. "Data received and confirmed, Captain. Information has been distributed to all human colonies and forwarded to 47 independent civilizations." 47? Zethvar looked shocked. "The Tau Empire was very interested in your historical records," Ben reported. "So were the Free Worlds Alliance and the Outer Rim Consortium. It seems nobody likes the idea of becoming your next harvest species." Helen pulled up another display showing star charts. "We also sent the information to every young civilization currently under council observation. The Andorian Republic, the Delta Union, the Crystal Spheres Collective. They are all receiving copies of your files right now." "This is impossible," said Clickstar, the Vex Trade representative. "Our communication monitoring would have detected any transmissions." "Your monitoring is very good," Ben admitted. But you were not monitoring for quantum-encrypted bursts transmitted through our own relay network. We sent everything while you were sleeping. Alex checked his weapon status on his tablet. We also analyzed your military capabilities. Very impressive fleet you have. Unfortunately, all your tactical databases assume your enemies will fight according to established galactic warfare conventions. And humans do not follow conventions, Jake added. We have this annoying habit of changing the rules in the middle of the game. Lisa pulled out the signed treaty documents and held them up for everyone to see. Then she tore them in half. The sound of ripping paper echoed through the silent chamber. The Earth Alliance formally declines membership in the Galactic Council, she announced. Furthermore, we extend an invitation to all civilizations currently under Council observation to join us in forming an alternative alliance. Ben's communication device activated again. Admiral Kane, this is Earth Command. We are receiving messages from 17 different civilizations requesting immediate diplomatic contact. They want to discuss alternatives to Council membership. 17. Already? Helen asked. We only sent the transmissions 12 hours ago. Word travels fast when freedom is at stake, Jake observed. Council Prime Zethvar stepped down from his platform. His silver eyes burned with centuries of controlled anger. You have made a terrible mistake, humans. The Council has maintained galactic peace for 1,000 years. We bring order to chaos. We prevent wars between primitive species. By enslaving them all under your control, Lisa replied. That is not peace. That is conquest disguised as cooperation. You cannot simply walk away, the alien leader continued. No species has ever refused our offer. The precedent would be catastrophic for galactic stability. Alex Turner stood up straighter. Then maybe it is time for galactic stability to change. Lisa closed her briefcase and picked it up. Thank you for your hospitality, Council Prime. It has been very educational. But we have a real alliance to build now. The human delegation began walking toward the chamber exit. Behind them, the Council representatives sat in shocked silence. Some were still trying to process what had just happened. Others were frantically sending messages to their home governments. As they reached the door, Zethvar called out one final time. You will regret this decision, humans. The galaxy is dangerous for species without protection. You will come crawling back to us within a decade. Lisa turned back to face the ancient alien leader. Council Prime, with respect, humans do not crawl anywhere. We walk upright, or we do not walk at all. The humans left the chamber and headed back to their ship. Throughout the station, alien crews were receiving emergency orders. Some were being told to prepare for war. Others were being instructed to begin damage control operations. But it was too late. The secret that had kept the Council in power for 1,000 years was now spreading across the galaxy at the speed of light. Young civilizations were learning the truth about the price of Council membership. The human delegation walked through the corridors of Council Station for the last time. Behind them, emergency alarms were starting to sound. Alien voices echoed through the metal hallways as Council officials tried to figure out how to respond to this unprecedented situation. Jake Morrison led the group toward their docking bay. His hand stayed near his weapon, but he tried to look calm. They passed groups of aliens who stared at them with mixtures of fear, anger, and confusion. Some aliens seemed curious about these strange creatures who had dared to challenge the Council's authority. Captain Morrison, Ben Parker said quietly, I am picking up a lot of emergency communications. Council military forces are being activated throughout the station. How long until we can undock? Jake asked. The Defiant should be ready for departure in 10 minutes, Ben replied. But there are Kornak warships moving to block the exit routes. Alex Turner checked his tactical display. I count 12 heavy cruisers taking positions around the station. They are not trying to hide their movements. Lisa Kane maintained her confident smile, but inside she was calculating their chances of escape. Any word from our new friends? Helen Brooks looked at her communication device. The Tau Empire has dispatched a diplomatic fleet to our coordinates. The Free Worlds Alliance is sending observers, but they are still hours away. Then we need to handle this ourselves, Jake decided. just like humans always do. They reached their docking bay to find it surrounded by Council security forces. Dozens of armed aliens blocked the path to their ship. The security team was led by a massive Kornak warrior covered in black armor. "Humans," the Kornak growled. "You will return to the Council chamber immediately. Council Prime Zethavar wishes to discuss revised terms for your membership." Lisa stepped forward without fear. "I think there has been a misunderstanding. We are leaving now. Our business here is finished." "You are not authorized to depart," the alien warrior replied. "By order of the Council, you will remain on this station until this situation is resolved." Jake moved to stand beside Lisa. "And if we refuse?" The Kornak's forearms moved toward the weapons attached to his armor. "Then you will be detained for the safety of galactic security." Alex Turner's military training took over. He quickly assessed the tactical situation. The aliens had superior numbers and position, but they were in an enclosed space where their advantages would be limited. "Admiral," Alex said quietly, "I can clear a path to the ship, but we will have to move fast." Before Lisa could respond, new voices echoed through the docking bay. A group of alien civilians had followed the humans from the main corridors. These were not Council officials or security forces. They were representatives from some of the smaller member species. An alien that looked like a walking crystal formation stepped forward. "Wait," it said in a voice like wind chimes. "We want to hear what the humans have to say." The Kornak security leader turned toward the civilian aliens. "Return to your quarters immediately. This is a Council security matter." "Is it true?" the crystal alien asked, ignoring the security warning. "About the harvest protocols? About what happens to member species?" More civilian aliens were gathering in the docking bay. Word was spreading quickly through the station about the humans' revelations. Species that had been Council members for decades were starting to ask questions they had never dared ask before. Helen Brooks realized this was an opportunity. "It is all true. We have the historical records, the communication intercepts, the implementation timelines. Every species that joins the Council eventually loses their independence." "That is enough," the Kornak commander said. He activated his weapons and pointed them at the humans. "You will be silent." But the damage was already done. The civilian aliens began talking among themselves in dozens of different languages. Translation devices struggled to keep up with the flood of conversations. The humans could see fear and anger spreading through the crowd. A floating jellyfish alien spoke up. "The ethereal collective has served the Council for 300 years. We were told it was an honor. Are you saying we are slaves?" Ben Parker activated his portable computer and projected holographic displays into the air above the crowd. "Here are the records of what happened to your homeworlds after you joined the Council." The images showed ethereal planets converted to research facilities. Beautiful floating cities had been replaced with sterile laboratories. The jellyfish alien made a sound like a whale song of mourning. More species began recognizing their own histories in the human data. The crystal aliens saw their mineral-rich world stripped bare. A race of bird-like creatures saw their forest planets turned into industrial tree farms. Everywhere they looked, Council membership had meant the destruction of everything they valued. The crowd of civilian aliens was growing larger and more agitated. The Kornak security forces were outnumbered, but they still had superior weapons and training. "All civilians will disperse immediately," the Kornak commander announced. "Return to your quarters or face detention." Instead of leaving, more aliens pushed into the docking bay. These were not just civilians anymore. Some wore the uniforms of Council staff members. Others appeared to be low-ranking military personnel. Even some aliens who worked in the station's technical systems had joined the crowd. Jake Morrison saw an opportunity. "You have all been living a lie for generations. The Council does not protect you, it exploits you, but it does not have to stay that way." "The humans are offering an alternative," Lisa added. "A real alliance between free and equal species. No harvest quotas, no forced labor, no cultural destruction." A small alien that looked like a walking plant raised one of its leafy arms. "How do we know you are telling the truth?" How do we know this is not another deception? Helen activated her tablet and displayed more council documents. Because we are giving you all the proof. Every file, every communication, every secret the council has kept hidden. You can verify it all for yourselves. Ben Parker began broadcasting the alien data files directly to the crowd's personal devices. Hundreds of aliens started downloading and reviewing the evidence for themselves. The translation programs worked overtime to convert council documents into dozens of different languages. The Kornak commander was getting desperate. This information is classified. Possession of these files is a violation of council security. Law. Whose law? Asked the crystal alien. Laws we never agreed to. Laws imposed on us without our consent? Alex Turner noticed that some of the council security forces were also looking at the projected data displays. Even the armed aliens were starting to question what they were seeing. Commander, Alex said to the Kornak leader, what happened to your homeworld after your species joined the council? The massive alien paused. His forearms lowered slightly. The Kornak homeworld is a training facility for council military forces. And where do your people live now? Helen asked. In military barracks throughout council space, the commander replied. His voice sounded less certain than before. So your entire species became soldiers for the council, Jake observed. No families, no culture, no choice in your own future. The IASA Kornak commander looked around at his security team. Several of them were nodding in understanding. They had never thought about their situation in these terms before. Lisa Kane stepped toward the ship's boarding ramp. We are leaving now. Anyone who wants to come with us is welcome. Anyone who wants to stay can stay. But we will not be prisoners of a system built on lies. The Kornak commander raised his weapons again, but his movements were hesitant. Around him, hundreds of civilian aliens were staring at evidence of their own exploitation. Some were crying. Others were shouting in anger. A few were already moving toward the human ship. The council maintains galactic peace, the commander said, but his voice lacked conviction. The council maintains galactic slavery, Lisa replied, but that ends today. She walked up the boarding ramp to the Defiant. Jake, Helen, Ben, and Alex followed her. Behind them, dozens of alien civilians began pushing past the security forces to board the human ship. The Kornak commander did not fire his weapons. He stood frozen as his entire worldview collapsed around him. Everything he had believed about the council, about his purpose, about his species' role in the galaxy, was falling apart. The Defiant's engines started warming up. Through the viewports, the humans could see council warships moving into attack positions. But they could also see something else. Other ships were launching from docking bays throughout the station. Civilian vessels, cargo haulers, even some smaller military craft were departing without authorization. Ben, what is our status? Jake asked as they reached the bridge. Engines online, weapons charged, shields up, Ben reported. We have 47 alien passengers aboard. More are requesting permission to dock with us. Any response from our diplomatic contacts? Lisa asked. Helen checked her communication array. The Tau Empire fleet has arrived at the edge of the system. The Free Worlds Alliance is broadcasting messages of support on all frequencies. And Admiral, we are receiving transmission requests from over 200 independent civilizations. Jake took his position in the captain's chair. Then let's go home and start building a real alliance. The Defiant pulled away from Council S.